Oh, and he's got a Mac. What's up, y'all? Welcome to Connected. You are here hanging with your host, DJ Is. We're coming to you live from home base, which is Los Angeles, California. You can catch us here every Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. All right, you can also keep track on our day-to-day via our social media platforms, which is Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Our social media handle is, of course, is Connected. So check it out. This is our first episode. And, you know, overall, the goal of this show is to get you connected to opportunities that best suit your skills, your passion in the workplace, and to also, you know, prep you and prepare you and eventually get you hired. Now, the dope thing is what makes this show unique is that these are job opportunities that nobody has access to, right? So in this world, we all know is a very, very small world, whether it's film, whether it's recording, whether it's producing. So in a sense, this makes your world a bit smaller, but it also makes your possibilities a bit more tangible and possible to make happen. Because, you know, at the end of the day in this game, everybody's chopping at the same bit, right? Everybody's in the same line to get the same gig, to get the same job opportunity. So through this show, Connected, we curve that experience by also offering mentoring. You know, a lot of people in today's age don't even really know how to put a resume together. So those are some of the things we like to focus in on and, you know, not just give you opportunities, but prep you for prime time. You know, and a lot of that has to do with, you know, what it's like to get a gig, what it's like to keep the gig, what it's like to stay on the gig. And those are the things we kind of like to cultivate and prep you on. So without any further ado, we like to get to the most important part and exciting piece of this show, which is our grind ops. Now, every week we'll be doing 5 grind ops. So if you do the math in a month, that's 20 job opportunities that we're making accessible, but only through Is Connected. So keep in mind, you'll see a link later on in the show, and the only way to access that link and to apply is through this show. So you want to make sure that you got your pen and pads out to take all this crucial information down that I'm about to go through with you. So first grind op of the day is grind op 5, which is in the field of radio. Now, this is a full-time board operator at the Global Mobile Radio Station you can watch in Washington, D.C. Now, you know, board operator, I'm assuming, you know, in this field, you know, the boards range from different, everybody uses something different. And I think overall, just you got to know the ins and outs on the consoles and segues and all that, and volumes and feedbacks and those things. Because in that environment, you definitely don't want to have any trouble. So that is grind op 5. We're going to move over to grind op 4. This is in the field of recording, live music engineer for the Etonic Music Festival 2016. This is freelance. And this is in Eaton, Ohio. Again, you know, these job opportunities aren't only going to be based out of California, which is home of the Recording Connection. These are going to be New York, DC, Chicago, Detroit, New Jersey, anywhere in between that we can access. So again, this is in the field of live music engineering. And this actually happens to be a field that I work in almost every day. A good friend of mine, a buddy of mine, Ryan Cecil, who's actually does sound. He's done sound for Eminem, Dr. Dre. He's now currently doing our sound for Usher. And I've seen him go from being a stage engineer, you know, to handling sound on the stage to actually doing front end house for us now. And what I love about him, man, is you'll meet a lot of guys in this field who, you know, you tell them, you know, can I get more kick in my monitor? And they're really anal. So I think in this setting, when you're dealing with artists and high caliber artists, or if you're even just starting, you know, you always want to make sure that your ear is humble and you're willing to take, you know, ideas down and information from musicians that you're doing sound for. This is a non-air environment. You know, when you're doing live sound, I mean, the last thing you want artists, the last thing you want to do is distract an artist while they're on stage, whether they're hearing feedback, whether they, you know, they're using in-ears and they don't have the mix isn't right. So this is a real, you know, this is a crucial field here because, you know, every artist has a particular way they like their show to be heard and their listens to be heard. So again, this is a great opportunity. Again, it's live music engineering. All right. So we're going to move over to Grind Up number 3. And this is also audio engineering now. This is on a format of Logic. And this is working with the fire department part-time position. And this is in Brooklyn, New York. Okay, so, you know, I'm a little familiar with Logic. You know, we usually record into Pro Tools, but we'll dump on Analog first. But as far as Logic, I got a couple buddies that actually use Logic. So, you know, it looks like, let me take a look at that again. So audio engineer working with the fire department. I'm not sure what the fire department thing is, but it's obviously recording. So everybody has their own system on how they record in any platform, whether it's Pro Tools, whether it's Ableton, whether it's Logic. So in that environment, you probably just more or less want to really know your stuff on that. So we're going to move over to Grind Up number 2, videographer. Okay, this is in the field of film. Videographer, production, and post on 2-minute shorts for Foodly app. And this is actually in Los Angeles, California. So that's out here. So keep in mind too, you know, to actually be able to access and apply for these job opportunities, you got to stay connected throughout the show. Later on, you'll see a link on the right side of your screen where you can actually get all the information you need, the detailed information to actually apply. All right, last but not least, Grind Up number 1, recording. This is audio engineer as well. This is at the Writers Room Studio. Oh, dope. Okay, I've worked there a couple of times. This is a Writers Room Studio, full-time and part-time positions. So it doesn't say assisting, so it looks like it's an actual full-time or head engineer gig. That's actually a good room. I've been there a couple of times. You know, in these kind of settings, you know, if you show up for the gig, you kind of want to have all your information down and your knowledge as far as, you know, what kind of gear they're using, what kind of outboard gear they got, you know, what the room's like, if there's a live room, if there's a vocal booth, kind of just know the ins and outs of what those things entail. You know, the great thing is it sounds like a great gig because it did say assistant, engineer assistant. So it looks like it's a actual, you know, you get to fly the ship in that room. So, you know, that's a great opportunity. So at this point, you know, that is our 5 Grind Ops for this Monday. I kind of want to open it up to the floor. You know, this whole show is really about not just being connected, but also just really engaging on just a personal, intimate setting. I think, you know, a great friend of mine, Brian, when we both sat down and visualized the show, that a huge piece of this was to make it very conversational, make it very real, very personal. So I kind of want to open it up to you guys and take some questions if you have any. Let's see. There's a slew of questions. What's up, Anthony? I'm not sure if I know you. Let's see. So this one is from Hollywood J Black. Anyone that needs audio video engineering, I have. Okay, that's not one. What do you prefer, analog or digital? This is Joe in St. Louis. What up, Joe? You know what, man? It's a hybrid for me because I came up in an analog era where, you know, we're dealing with 2-inch, a lot of analog gear. And as you know, the game shifted and it became more or less digital and that whole spiel. But, you know, I think through my creativity, I've found a way to make it a hybrid where I can utilize the knowledge of what analog is, what it feels like, what it sounds like. And then in economics and keeping it effective, you know, digital makes things a lot simpler, especially through technology. But I actually prefer both. I mean, you know, as a true analog lover, you know, that's just something I prefer. Sonically, I prefer analog, the way it captures low end, the way it captures drums. Low end, analog, you can tend to stretch out and push a lot harder than you can digital. When you push it a little too hard on digital, it gets a little distorted. So me, I'm an analog guy. So that's where it's at for me. Let's see, next question. What's the best way to profile yourself as a live sound engineer? And this is coming from Mick. Best way to profile. You know what, man? Honestly, it really comes down to your experience and building your resume. Like I said, a lot of times these days, people don't really know how to put a resume together. So, you know, sound guys, I mean, you start from the bottom and you kind of just work your way. You're doing gig after gig after gig, and just make sure you track that information and those experiences. So when you get into a great opportunity, you got something to show with various artists, various bands that you work with. I would say in that setting, you want to just make sure you're very diverse. If you've done a lot of hip hop, you also want to make sure you get at some point in there, a track and experience of actually miking bands. Because, for the most part, hip hop, you're dealing with either a DJ and an MC, and there's not a whole lot of other things going on. So you kind of want to make sure you can show the full spectrum of what it is you do as far as being an engineer. Um, Next question is from Chris. What's a good way to find some local artists to help promote? Um, I guess wherever you're based out of, I mean, kind of just see where the hot spots are for new artists, up and coming, home talent, and just kind of scout. And just keep yourself in the mix. Network. A big piece of this is actually networking. People always ask, is it this? Is it, do I got to know this? Do I got to go to school for this? And really, man, it's really networking, and you got to look at yourself as a walking business, so that when you're in these environments, you can navigate and socialize and network with the right folks. Let's see. Ty, this question is from Ty. Her question is, are you still producing for artists? Absolutely. That's, one of my first and foremost passions is songwriting and producing. We're actually back in the studio with the gentleman by the name of Anthony Hamilton. We did some stuff with Janet on her last record. So absolutely. I mean, that keeps the fire going for me. So me and my bro are still very much active on the producing and songwriting side. Let's see. This is for Martini Jean. Hey, DJ Is, any advice for trying to be an on-air radio host? You know what? I have a bunch of friends who actually are on-air radio hosts, and I think it's cool because everybody always kind of refers to, like, what your voice is like and what that sounds like. So I think any advice I would have to offer in that field would be just to kind of develop your personality, and just have character. Be outspoken, be fun, be exciting, and that's pretty much, if you look at anybody, whether it's Howard Stern or whether it's Big Boy, they all have a very, very captivating personality. So those are some of the things that you just kind of want to really know who you are on that side, and what kind of excitement you can drive through just people hearing you. So I'm going to take one last question. Let's see here. Let me try to get a good one for you guys. Let's scroll through here real quick. This is from Dwight, and his question is, where do you see the industry going in the future as far as in employment ops? I mean, it's definitely getting tougher and tougher because technology has made it accessible for everyone to kind of just, keep it moving, whether it's creating or whether it's building relationships. You know what, man, I'm a forward thinker. So, I see traditional business definitely going away, and I see disruptive business coming into play. And, if you look at just what we're doing here with Is Connected and the radio connection, it's very disruptive. It's very forward thinking. I mean, not only are we mentoring, but we're also prepping you and providing you with opportunities that can take you, a long way faster than the traditional, I remember days of, getting the green sheet and looking for job ops, and, so, I think overall film, music, things are changing because the economics aren't the same. So it's forcing people to approach business different. But it's a great way. The great thing is you have various platforms like these, Google Hangout, YouTube, other platforms that really don't allow you to have an excuse to get out there and grind for yourself. So that's a great thing, and it's all about creating opportunity for yourself. And that's kind of what you want to constantly do. So, guys, uh, I love to answer more. There's tons of them, but what I also want to remind you too is how to apply. If you look on your screen to the right side, you'll see a link. Um, that's crucial because that's the only way you can access these jobs. So you definitely want to click on that link on the right side of your screen and apply. Um, the goal here is to prep you and prepare you and to get you hired. So with that being said, guys, that is it for today. But like I said, you can catch us here every Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And, I hope you guys have enjoyed this as much as me. Shout out to my Connected team. Shout out to the Recording Connection staff for making this possible. My boy B for seeing the vision. And I look forward to seeing you all here next week. On that note, I'm DJ Is. Peace, much love. And, man, don't be afraid to dream. Peace. As I was